He's been to London many times, but suddenly his presence has stirred a political storm. Sheikh Youssef al-Qaradawi was all bemusement as he arrived to address Muslim scholars. The press had welcomed him as evil, a devil who supports child bombers. The politicians were accordingly none too keen when he was topic A in the Commons.
Does the Prime Minister agree with me that someone who backs child suicide bombings and is banned from the United States because of his alleged terrorist links should not be allowed into this country?
Let me make it absolutely clear. We want nothing to do with people who support suicide bombers in Palestine or elsewhere or support terrorists. So my right honourable friend has to take his decision according to the relevant criteria. He will do that, and I am not going to comment further on the case.
It was odd then to see the Sheikh, Dr. Qaradawi, centre stage, honorary speaker of the conference devoted to modernising Islam. The Sheikh himself was eager to talk of Islam's links to and regard for Christians and Jews, even speaking of the value of intermarriage. So he asked, why all the fuss?
It is not strange for me to visit London, and London is an open city. It welcomes everybody. So why is this row when I visit London today?
The arrival of Dr. Qaradawi provides a perfect, if rather worrying, opportunity to examine the state of Muslim-non-Muslim relations. For this is a scholar who was one of the first to condemn the September 11th attacks on America and this year's bomb attacks in Madrid. Yet he's also condoned suicide bombings in the Middle East. It's over the likes of Dr. Qaradawi that the politics of theology meet the morality of guerrilla warfare, or, if you like, terrorism. This is where the word of God is interpreted in the mind of man. The Sheikh's one of the Muslim world's preeminent theologians. So, researching suicide bombings, last month Newsnight went to his home in Qatar to ask why he'd formed the view that Islam permitted such attacks in Israel.
It's not suicide. It is martyrdom in the name of God. Islamic theologians and jurisprudents have debated this issue, referring to it as a form of jihad under the title of jeopardizing the life of the mujahid. It is allowed to jeopardize your soul and cross the path of the enemy and be killed.
And in the mind of Dr. Qaradawi, that view prevails even though women and children are often the innocent victims.
Israeli women are not like women in our society because Israeli women are militarized. Secondly, I consider this type of martyrdom operation as an indication of justice of Allah Almighty. Allah is just. Through His infinite wisdom, He has given the weak what the strong do not possess, and that is the ability to turn their bodies into bombs like the Palestinians do.
At the moment, our image as a Muslim is the worst it can ever be. We are targeted as a terrorist.
But of course, not every Muslim thinker agrees with the Sheikh. Mufti Barkatullah is a senior imam at the North Finchley Mosque.
Any act of violence which makes innocent people victim is not allowed. And this position has been and always will be throughout the history of Islam for the last 1500 years. No new person or scholar can ever change this position.
But back to the Sheikh and the Middle East, what does he think of suicide attacks in Iraq?
If the Iraqis can confront the enemy, there is no need for these acts of martyrdom. If they don't have the means, acts of martyrdom are allowed. I didn't say that the Iraqis cannot. It depends on their need.
If most UK politicians were today running from Dr. Qaradawi, the London mayor was unperturbed.
You are truly welcome. Welcome to London, a city of all faiths.
And others at the conference were similarly supportive.
I think people will find that very strange that he's seen as an extremist. He's very well respected and very popular in the Muslim world and well known for his moderate and balanced views. He's many times condemned terrorism. Also in Europe he's known to promote integration and positive participation in society.
He's a mainstream scholar that is, as I say, respected throughout the world, and he is not an extreme. Doesn't express any extreme views or interpret text in an extreme way.
So we went back to the Sheikh for clarification of his views. Was suicide bombing legitimate in Iraq?
What he said is that in Palestine, the need is there. In Iraq today, the need is not there.
And who decides if the need is there? Who makes that decision?
من الذي يقرر إذا ما كانت الضرورة قد حصلت أو لم تحصل؟
أهل الرأي وأهل الحل والعقد.
The influential figures within a given community, the leaders and their scholars, they meet and decide.
But who decides who's the leader? That's the problem. Who makes these decisions? Is it bin Laden makes the decisions, or is it the Sheikh makes the decisions? I mean, who is it? That's the problem.
He is talking about the community in their given location.
Sure.
So in Iraq, it's the Iraqis who decide.
But which Iraqis?
As in the case of Palestine, for instance. Factions or groups like Hamas and Islamic Jihad, when they considered this method, they went to the people of knowledge and asked them whether Islamically that was lawful or not lawful. When the case was explained to them, they were told that there is a necessity and therefore in their situation it is permissible.
But these ideas of people of knowledge do not necessarily translate very easily to Western society. I mean, in Western society there are democracies. People are elected. They decide. People of knowledge is a bit loose.
But it's a different form of democracy. How do you expect in a war situation where people have their land occupied, where they are homeless and they are being persecuted and killed, how do you expect that they will be able to set up democratic institutions in order to take decisions?
It is, as the Sheikh, Dr. Qaradawi, would doubtless agree, all a matter of interpretation of the Quran and of his view of the Quran. But Dr. Qaradawi is, it's worth reiterating, deemed an authority on these matters, generally seen, we're assured and reassured, as mainstream.